ERBEND 10-foot power shear, machine delivery, and initial setup. To take initial delivery of the ERBEND 10-foot power shear, the following items are required. Minimum 3/4 inch 4.5 ton shackles and accompanying straps with sufficient load rating. You'll also need a forklift capable of moving and positioning a 7,000 plus pound machine. Before placing the machine, measure the surface where the machine will be placed to ensure it is level. The machine will be leveled via adjustable feet as part of the initial setup, but range of adjustment cannot correct for severely out-of-level surfaces. The machine must be placed at minimum 3 feet away from any adjacent walls to allow room for service and maintenance. When the placement location is finalized, move the machine into place via forklift, but keep the machine suspended above its placement location and slide the leveling feet into place below the machine as pictured. Once the feet are aligned, lower the machine into place. Note that the feet have a hole for anchoring the machine to the floor after the final level, as well as 2 countersunk divots to align the leveling bolts. As part of setup, you must also install the light curtains at the rear of the machine. The light curtains can either be installed attached to the machine or bolted to the ground with included brackets. We recommend bolting them to the ground to avoid machine vibration or movement from interfering with their function. With the machine placed and leveling feet attached, use a machinist level or other highly accurate leveling tool to level the machine both side to side and front to back. Leveling in both directions is critical to ensure consistent material position across the full width of the machine and consistent, accurate cuts. Once the machine is placed and accurately leveled, you're ready for initial setup. With the ERBEND 10-foot power shear placed and accurately leveled, it can be connected to power and air supplies. A few important things to note when connecting to power and air. First, note that we recommend that a licensed electrician connects the machine to power before operating. The electrician should carefully validate the information on the tag mounted to the machine, which includes power, voltage, current, and frequency. The machine requires the use of an included transformer mounted on a rolling shelf to operate at 230 volts and 3-phase. The licensed electrician must ensure that the correct 3-phase power is being supplied to the machine, then use a properly sized power cord to wire into the machine. Note the location of the 400 volt versus 230 volt pigtails inside the transformer during install as pictured. The machine will need to be connected to an air source as well, but first check that the fitting is a standard or imperial sized fitting for use in US-based shops. Machines may ship with metric fittings and need to be swapped. This is also a good opportunity to add lithium grease to guides and ball screws on the back gauge, as well as side guides to ensure smooth operation. To calibrate and set up the machine, take the following steps. First, calibrate the back gauge by selecting Auto from the main menu, then holding the crosshair reference icon in the bottom left corner of the screen. You will see the back gauge slowly moving at the rear of the machine, automatically referencing and calibrating. Next, select Semi-Auto from the main menu, tap the top number field, then enter the back gauge position for the cut you plan to make, or in other words, set the depth of your material on the back gauge. Then press the green Start button in the bottom right corner, and the back gauge will move into the correct position. Select Manual from the main menu, tap F/R Control at the top of the screen, and select either front or rear dump to determine where the cut material will be directed after it has been sheared. Finally, the blades must be accurately gapped so they're as precise as possible, but don't bind or collide. We recommend that the blades are gapped to a distance between 2 1/1000ths and 5 1/1000ths of an inch. There are different blade gap adjustment processes for the 3220 versus 3240 machines. For the EMS 3240 heavy gauge shear, there are dials to adjust the blade gap located on the front of the machine, highlighted in green in the illustration shown. These dials allow both coarse and fine adjustments of the blades. For the EMS 3220, follow this sequence of steps. First, to move the blade forward, loosen the lock nuts, item number 3 in the illustration, loosen the front set screws, item number 2 in the illustration, and then tighten the back set screws, item 1 in the illustration, to move the blade forward. Retighten the front set screws and lock nuts respectively, and perform this operation on both sides. To move the blade backward, loosen the lock nuts, item 3 on the illustration, loosen the back set screws, item 1 on the illustration, Then tighten the front set screws, item 2 on the illustration, to move the blade backward. Tighten the back set screws and lock nuts respectively, and perform this operation on both sides. And finally, as you're adjusting the blades, familiarize yourself with blade install and orientation. Note that there is a 2-sided top blade paired with a 4-sided bottom blade, allowing operators to rotate blades as cutting edges wear. It's also important to mention here that when blades are either rotated or replaced, the calibration and gapping procedures outlined in the video will need to be performed again to ensure everything is accurate. Once these first calibrations and adjustments have been made, you can move into initial trial cuts to ensure the machine is operating correctly. To test your ERBEND 10-foot power shear, start at the main menu where you will see options for operating the machine in 3 modes: manual, semi-auto, and auto. Manual mode will be used primarily to make machine adjustments rather than actually making cuts. It allows fine-tuning of the position of all axes of the machine. Semi-auto mode allows the operator to make individual cuts. Simply set the desired back gauge position, press OK, press the green start button in the lower right corner of the screen, then press the foot pedal to make the cut. The operator can make as many cuts as desired and change the back gauge position as needed. Auto mode allows the operator to create custom programs which can include a specific number of cuts with the back gauge in one consistent position or multiple cuts with varying predetermined back gauge positions. Programs are easily customizable for fabrication needs and can be saved for future use. We recommend that operators make several test cuts using semi-auto mode to ensure that the motorized back gauge is correctly referenced and functioning correctly, and to ensure that the blade position is correct so that there's no contact or interference between blades and cuts are clean and consistent across the width of the material.